everyone, and welcome to the American Scouser post-match here after what was a quite surprising but very welcome 3-0 win with Liverpool beating Brentford here. And, well, it's me, John. I'm sure you probably were expecting someone else, maybe Timuchin, maybe Matouche, maybe, I don't know, but I'm on the captain's chair for today. And, of course, joining me is one of our resident Scousers, Kazi. Kazi, how are you doing? 3-0 win. That positivity of yours shines through again. I don't know if it was that or if it was the Anfield aura, but how's it going, mate? How are you feeling?
Going good, mate. Yeah, a really, really good way to bounce back after the Toulouse game and after the Luton game. To be fair, on the back of those last two performances, we bounced back really well. Excellent, mate. Good performances all over the park, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Right. We were kind of touching up on it, before the show started, but was this an easier win than we expected? Did we play really well, or was it kind of like the Anfield aura, sort of like getting into Brentford and sort of rallying our guys, making it this was a difficult fixture on paper. Like
Yeah.
let's not
Yeah.
mince words here. It was a difficult fixture, but there was something about when Brentford first kicked the ball, at least for me, Van Dijk won that first aerial duel that sent the ball flying, that kind of set the tone that we mean business now. Those two losses, we're angry, we're here for it, and we're going to bounce back. What say you?
Yeah, I think, probably a little bit of that. I think when Brentford had that set piece in the first 5 minutes where Wissa should score and he misses it completely, right. I think that's when the players kind of woke up a little bit. But then I actually think that we were playing okay in the game. And then I think when Matip got booked, I think the players went, fuck this. Do you know what I mean? We're getting nothing out of this guy today, which we all know the history of Paul Tierney. Yeah. We're getting nothing out of this guy today. And I think that's when the crowd went, and the crowd must have thought themselves, nah, we're not having this. And everyone kind of stepped up a level again. But you're probably right, me, from kind of the first header, it looked like it was never going to be the same game as it was for Toulouse. The intensity was there in our play, which the manager always says, and Pep Linders, of course, the famous book.
Infamous, I would say.
Yeah. So, super pleased, mate. They come back really well there. We were a bit worried with the starting 11.
Right.
Paul actually played quite well.
Right.
In his little weird role that he was playing, because he was kind of in between roles, like a number 8 at times, and then he was going past Nunes and shooting and stuff like that. So he kind of played a bit of a weird role, but I thought he played quite well. So super, super pleased, mate. Really, really good today.
Yeah. That's actually a good segue. Gakpo at the 8. A lot of people were worried to start, including myself. So, if you were going to give like a numerical rating for his performance, I'd say around a 7 would be fair, considering it's not his natural position. I guess my follow-up question is, obviously, we kind of have the midfield depth that we've been missing for quite a few seasons now, and unfortunately, did we reach the point in the season where we're kind of missing numbers there? But Gakpo as an emergency 8 doesn't seem too bad, considering he's such an intelligent footballer. He's strong, he's physical, he can play that position to an extent. Do you feel like this performance kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say puts his name there, but maybe in times of need, or in maybe times where we need to go ultra attacking, kind of would put him there? Maybe not, maybe. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think, listen, it's the break glass option, isn't it? Yeah. I would like to not see him play there again this season, because I'd like all our players to be fit. Or not suspended.
Yeah.
Which, again, it would have been super interesting today if McAllister was not suspended, because he would have probably had to play Endo anyway, and then we would have seen McAllister in his more natural position. Right. So we kind of a little bit missed out on that, but I thought he played well, mate. He wasn't amazing by any stretch, but for this little weird inverted role, he coped well. I think in the first half, I think he won two ground duels out of 5, which is okay for a normal centre midfielder. And he should, he actually won more ground duels than Endo and Szoboszlai combined, because they won 0 in the first half. So super pleased, mate, with him. And again, he gives us that little break lapse option if needed. So super good.
Yeah, we didn't touch on it. I forgot to mention, but you have a man of the match, maybe from the side. Like, a lot of people performed well, but do you have a specific player from the team that kind of stamped out or maybe stood out for you?
There's a few mates. Listen, Darwin in the first half, and I'm Darwin's biggest critic. I don't mind saying that. I can't stand him at times. He really, because what I like intelligent footballers, and he's just not intelligent. But the first 45 minutes there was one of the most complete performances he's put in a red shirt. Thought he was excellent. Clever pass to play Salah in for the first goal. Really good hold to play as well. Because the ball is whipped into him by Trent in the first goal. It's really fizzed into him. It's a really good first touch and he gets it off. So I would give a special mention to him. Salah, of course, he probably should walk off with a hat-trick because he should score in the stroke of half-time.
Right.
When Trent plays that ball over, he should score.
Yeah.
The other one, of course, is I put in the thing there is Costas. Thought he was really good. Thought he was really, especially going forward. The first half an hour defensively, I thought he was a bit iffy. And then I thought he got it together, especially second half, I thought he got it together as well. And the last 15 of the first. Basically, when Salah kind of scored, I think he kind of got it together. So I want to give a special, because he got 2 assists today. And he could have got 3.
Yeah.
Because the ball in the first, he has a free kick in the first half, where Van Dijk heads the ball, should score. Jota should score off Van Dijk's header as well, towards the end of the first half. But if Van Dijk just scores the header initially, he walks off with 3 assists.
Right.
Like gets a lot of stick. Some deserved, some not so. But today I thought he was really, really, really good. And hopefully, listen, he's going to have tougher challenges next week. Well, in 2 weeks when we come back and he's playing against Doku or someone like that. He's got a tougher challenge, we know that. But going forward today, I thought his crossing was really good. I thought his corners, when he took a few, were really good as well. So I'm going to give it to Costas, mate, I think.
Right. Trevor says, break glass Cody Gakpo. Yeah, Cody's versatility in terms of playing multiple positions kind of serves as both a blessing and a curse for him, don't you think? Where, Klopp can kind of go like, you could play there. That's fine, maybe as an emergency option. And speaking of, number 1 Simicast stand here, let me bring him on.
Get him here.
The founder himself, me warming up the chair. Tim, how are you doing, man? You're a good performance from your boy Simicast?
Yes, definitely. So much better, right? I mean, more similar to what we're used to. Still, I feel like, there are some points, especially in the first half, where he looks just weak. I just don't know what it is. Like, he'll be, and for somebody who is weak, I don't know why he sometimes tries to shield the ball. Like Mo does it, but Mo is strong as fuck. And he can do it. Whereas I don't get that sense with Costa, so I don't know why he keeps insisting on it. But he was really good going forward. And I think what helped is Trent being out more wide more often than not today. I think we saw him out wide a lot more than we normally do.
Right.
So that stretches the field and enables the left-hand side to have some more space too. And I thought, like I say, I've been a critic of Costas, and I was just like responding on Facebook, like, you got to call it out. If you got to call out what you see. And he had a really poor run, but today was definitely a lot better.
It seemed like Trent was less inverted and sort of like playing more of that role that we're accustomed to seeing from him. Does Klopp kind of take this result, like considering, like I mentioned at the start of the stream, this was a tough game on paper, and it kind of didn't look like it. So maybe Klopp looks at it and goes like, maybe it's time to bring up the old system. Like, I'll give that to you, Cause. Do you feel like this influences Klopp in the future at all, or do we still stubbornly stick with that?
Come on, Cause!
Yeah. I'm not making the decisions on this.
Yeah, but in your opinion, like...
No. I just think it's kind of... I just think it was an emergency today kind of thing.
Right.
Listen, there's 2 moments in the game there which sums it up for Trent. Number 1, the ball he plays for Salah at the end of the first half is a joke. It's an unbelievable ball. Salah should score. And that's why Klopp kind of wants him in that role as well, especially if you're playing against those 2 banks, which Brentford kind of did, set 2 banks in the first half especially.
Yeah.
He wants those kind of little dick balls, and he probably is one of the main players. Elliott did it against Luton, that over the defender goal where Diaz scored, where Elliott's ball is a joke of a ball as well. And Trent is the same. I think we've seen Trent more out wide, to provide the width and to break glass. Because when Matip got booked, you can't allow Matip to do both roles. Right. Because he's booked. Yeah. And if you're playing against a quick winger, he's 1 foul away from going off. So I think Trent had to support Matip a little bit there. If Matip weren't booked, I think you might have seen him a little bit more in the centre mid. But I think he's kind of thought, I've got to take it a little bit easy there because I can't allow this lad for 50 minutes, 55 minutes cleaning up the mess, which I'm told to make, by the way. Not Trent's fault. He's told to make that mess behind me. Do you know what I mean? Because he has been booked. Unfortunately booked, by the way. And thank you to Joel Matip to find another gift for us that we can use for the rest of our life. Because Joel Matip provides gifts on a weekly basis. When he is on the floor doing this,
yeah, that's
felt like 15 seconds. Like he just didn't.
prime meme material. Yeah,
was
that reaction. I was like, I was the same, to be fair, because that is no way a yellow where the defender. Yeah, where the guy just jumps into him. But let me give Matip some love here, Tim, because obviously everyone saw him coming, second choice next to Konate, which unfortunately hasn't been the case. And I've been hammering home the fact in the morning shows with you that I think Matip has been our second best center back behind Virgil van Dijk this year, and he truly deserves to be starting, next to him at a week by week basis. So considering he got needlessly booked, it's a pretty exceptional performance from him, threading that tightrope all game and helping keep Wisa on that side quiet.
Yeah, I mean, see, like going back to the thing too that we were talking about, Trent, I think we have to have a different lineup for specific games. And I think in a game at home where you expect the other team to defend more, I think this is the way to go. With Matip, who's better with the ball pushing forward in between. Like he can push in between the lines suddenly and do like an overload on one side, and Trent odds more wide. When you play a game where maybe you need to crowd the midfield more, you want like number advantage in midfield, I'm okay with then, inverted Trent into that midfield and then maybe Konate playing as center back. But I think in this situation, whenever we're home, and I feel like, Luton, even though it was away, it probably should have been the same exact way we played today. You play like you're almost like home because they're still going to sit back. But I think, especially games at home, Matip, he's so good with his feet. And I thought he was really good with cutting passes and turning them into attack right away. But honestly, I mean, it goes, when it's not there, we give it a lot of shit. But Van Dijk was immense today. And I feel like, he could be like literally man of the match, I think, in some ways, just because he's back to his old self in many ways where like speed does not affect him for one in his defending. And then he was the same way, converting every ball that he cut off and starting a new attack. And that's what builds pressure when you have somebody defending all the time, is coming back in waves. So both center backs I thought were like tremendous today, hence the clean sheet.
Yeah, I was going to go there. I actually have Virgil as my man of the match here. But before that, let us bring in our Anfield insider, Mr. Serzi himself. How are you doing, my friend? A good win. Quick thoughts on the game, maybe a man of the match. What say you?
It was a great game. Salah, obviously I'll give the man of the match for Salah. He just he's just so effective when he gets the ball. It wasn't in the game all that much, but when he produces, he produces. But the defense, I have to agree. As much as I love Konate, I just feel more assured with Van Dijk and Matip playing. They're like Hansen and Lawrence from back in the day. They just know each other's game so well, and I feel a lot more calm when they both play than when Konate or Gomez play with Virgil.
And before Timothy goes, because he messaged me here, he was going to bail. I think he's comfortable with me being in the captain's seat from here on out. I wish, right?
You're in good hands with Kazi and Serzi over here. So
right. So Tim, that Van Dijk performance that we were talking about, I think it's been largely a good season, kind of a slap in the face for like the Virgil is washed crowd. So do you feel, I guess, like obviously it's early on, do you feel we're seeing kind of the Verge, pre-injury Verge, shoring up the back line, or is there still some room for improvement?
I mean, I don't think you're ever going to see, I mean, he's not Benjamin Button over here, so you're never going to see the pre-injury Verge, but I think we've gotten a lot closer to it. And I think when he was well above and beyond every center back in the world, a slightly diminished version is still like one of the top in the world. So, and that's okay, especially with his age and stuff. And I really feel like, like that we were talking in the past, like when he was putting some poor performances and stuff, I was always against him being, seen as, oh, he's done. Because I feel like he's a guy who can adjust his game to play like we see like Thiago Silva and stuff like that, some center backs, be able to adjust their game a little bit. And I think he has kind of done that in some ways, where he knows he's not the fastest now, so he plays accordingly. He's not as fast as he was today. He did make some tackles where he was still like, showed his speed and cut off a winger and stuff. But I think, you're never gonna get the old Verge because that's pretty much impossible. But I think we're getting mighty close, and that's saying a lot because that's still the best center back in the league, probably.
Yeah. Trevor says here that he isn't gold anymore, but he's still on the medal stand. So Tim, Tim, I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you guys. Great way to start the Sunday. Finally, a good way to start the weekend. So you guys have a good one. Take care.
See you later, man. I think it's hard when you talk about pre-injury Verge, though, right? Because he was playing a level of football that I've never seen a centre half play.
Right.
Like, he was literally the best centre half I've ever seen for 2 years, 3 years. He was literally untouchable. And I remember, like, I don't know what, of course, we all knew he was when he was world class. I remember when he beat Adama Traore in a foot race and won the ball back. I think everyone kind of looked and went, what are we dealing with here? Like, this is getting like a joke. So he's never going to be back at that level. But as Tim just mentioned, even if he's a level below that, he's still probably the best defender in the league. So, and the best centre half, one of in the world. Like, if you look at actually go around the league, the actual leagues these days, you're looking probably Kim Min-jae at Bayern, who's excellent. He was excellent for Napoli last year. Right. You're looking at Ruben Diaz, of course. Those kind, you know what I mean? I would take Van Dijk over any of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I still feel like the people who say, Cersei, that, Virgil is washed, he's not as fast as he was, not as strong as he was, not as positionally astute as he was. You can't name me a center back in the Premier League or around the world that would fit in seamlessly to such a high risk system. Like, let's be real here. That high line puts a defender in a very disadvantageous position. So whether you're John Terry, whether you're Nemanja Vidic, whether you're Franz Beckenbauer, for all I care, you're always going to be on the back foot, always going to be reacting instead of being proactive. And I think that kind of goes against what people throw at Fridge. Oh, he's a bit slower. The system doesn't help him. And the fact that he's coping and being able to deal with it, like kind of like what he did in the past to an extent. I guess what I'm trying to say is we've been spoiled, and that the criticism for him has been unfair in terms of like considering what he has to deal with up front.
Yeah, I think during the like short sprint, he's still got his speed, but I think with the injuries, he's evolved mentally. Whereas Tim was saying, it's very much like Thiago Silva now, and Virgil's got the intelligence to evolve his game where he can read. He doesn't need to sprint now. He can read what's going to happen. I think last season, obviously, with the midfielders being as crap as they were, he was exposed a lot. So that high line was definitely exposed, not because of Verge, but because our midfielders were just non-existent. And I think this season, the times that we have been caught out is because of lack of DM. But again, like Endo, he was just amazing today. And he protected that midfield, and he helped Verge and Matip a lot. If I had to pick a hole, with our performance today, it would be Trent, still defensively, still suspect, and I don't know whether it's complacency or just lack of concentration. And he got us into trouble a couple of times.
Yeah, but that Trent note, that chance that Bomo missed on the break, that was just Trent in a nutshell, wasn't it, Kazi?
Yeah.
Like, with Trent, is it just like obviously people have been on his ass in terms of getting his head in the game, getting that defensive awareness through the years. Is this just what we're gonna get from Trent for the rest of his career, which is dynamic balls? Yeah. All like supreme attacking play, but he'll have one or two moments each game where he'll just switch off. You think that's just going to be how it is for the rest of his career? Because it's been years now. It's been, 5 seasons now?
25, and he's 25, because he's been around for so long. I think he's 25.
Yeah.
And people keep bringing the thing up. He's the same age as Gerrard was in Istanbul, which makes me feel fucking sick. Because I felt Gerrard was like a proper leader of men at the time. Like, he was 25, which of course is the credit to Gerrard. But going back to the sense, I know what you're saying with the Mbemo chance on the break, but by the way, it's some pass. Like, we can't be. I always say this about other teams. Other teams can play well against you. Other teams are allowed to play well. They're not just going to come to Anfield and roll over and get the belly tickled and we all go. Do you know what I mean? yeah. But I think it makes sense. He's today in certain games, especially at home, he's going to make mistakes because it is not complacency as such, but it's more Brentford are only going to get 4 or 5 half decent chances on the break. So when you're on the ball so much and when you're in control of the game so much, you feel more confident. But when, as Sergi just mentioned there, when one is played in behind you and stuff like that, you can come a little bit complacent, I suppose, because you are just so used to being in control of the game. But listen, I thought he did okay. I thought he, better than he did against Luton. So, you know what I mean? It's positivity, mate, today, I think, from all the lads. I thought the all lads put in performance. And those absolutely, I didn't think he was amazing by any stretch, but I just thought he was a competent midfielder, which is sometimes all we want. I just need a competent midfielder just to get the ball sometimes with my centre halves and just play it and just be nice and just. This is the argument that I always have with Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones never loses the ball, so that's why he gets picked all the time by Jurgen Klopp. He picks every single time Jones is fit, he plays. Why? Because he doesn't lose the ball. So the managers just want somebody who can win the ball back from you and don't lose it, because that's what you want out of a centre midfielder. And I thought Endo did that well today. I thought it was probably his best game today that we can build on. So, again, I don't think anyone had a really poor performance. If you're basing it off today, at least I know the Van Dijk conversation is interesting. The Matip conversation is extremely interesting because he's out of contract in the summer.
Yeah,
we all thought just let him go on free, and now because of his little renaissance, we're all sitting here going, "Should you give him a new deal?" Trent, Van Dijk's out of contract in 18 months. Are we all sitting here now going, "Fucking hell, we need to get some deals done for our centre halves"? Like, do we, Virgil's 32. Do you give him another couple of years and go, you can have a 4-year deal and leave at 36, maybe? Matip's the interesting one. Do you give Matip a 2-year deal? Do you know what I mean? It's so,
yeah.
It's right now to me, and we'll go back. I'm sure we'll go back to it. As we mentioned before, Matip's probably our second best defender, centre half at least. So it's interesting, isn't it? Interesting.
Yeah, what do you think, Sergi? Because I remember bringing up in a particular morning show, and I got slated for it, that I would have Matip maybe season and a half more of Joel Matip, because as good as Kwanzaa is, I think the fact that he's as good as he is now is because Matip and Verge kind of took them under his wing, kind of teach him how to be more calm, play within himself, within the system. So what say you? Has Matip that this renaissance that Kazi has been saying, has it kind of given Klopp the thought, like, hey, maybe we got to extend this guy? Maybe not because we're going to be playing him week in, week out, but we have a solid option off the bench that we can rely on in case, someone gets injured, or in case, we just need a no-nonsense performance from a center back like he typically gives.
Yeah. I think Matip comes into his own when he's playing with Virgil.
Yeah.
You put anyone else aside next to him, and we lack that leadership in defense. I'd extend his contract. Like I say, if he can stay injury free, he is our second best defender in that squad. Gomez, I like him. He's like Trent. He has a ricket in him.
Yeah.
And but I love Kwanzaa. I mean, it's interesting that he played on the right today. I thought he was just left-footed, and I think going forward he can definitely shore up that right side of our defense when needed. I haven't seen Kwanzaa make any mistakes since he's been playing this season. And I'd probably put him third choice right now, above Konate and Gomez.
This is why, though, right, mate? This is why the Europa League's kind of been a benefit to Liverpool this season, because you are seeing the Kwanzaa and you are seeing Ben Doak get him. If Liverpool in the Champions League, you're not seeing Kwanzaa. You're not seeing Ben Doak getting these minutes. And Ben Doak, I thought he was excellent first half against Toulouse. He's probably unlucky to get taken off. He was the easy sub for the manager, winning because he's a kid. He's the easy sub. So, but he was actually really good, I thought. So it has come a small benefit. It's given Endo some minutes to get him up to speed and that kind of stuff. So we're seeing a renaissance of Joe Gomez, which we never thought we'd see, and Joel Matip. And it's just, I feel like we're ticking along nicely. We're just ticking along nicely. Do you know what I mean? Listen, of course, the Luton game's a disappointment. Liverpool could be top of the league, right now, basically. But the Luton game is a disappointment. But we're going to have these little hiccups along the way. We're going to, because we are still a work in progress. And if Liverpool can sneak a trophy or two this season and get back in the Champions League, then unbelievable, because we are still that work in progress. So I'm super pleased, mate. I can't fault anyone today. I thought they were all really good. Really good.
Yeah, coming into a 2-week international break, absolutely thank God we got this win, because I do not want to be, having some bad vibes over here for 2 weeks. And considering,
by the way, it's good timing though, John, because we're getting our players back. We should have Gravenberch back. We should have hopefully Jones back. McAllister will be back from a suspension. It's good timing for Liverpool, actually. I know that sounds a bit shit because of the kick-off time of the City game. If we were playing City on a Sunday night, we'd all sit there and go, well, fucking whack you. We're going there to whack you. Right? But the problem is, of course, the time of the game, we all feel a bit nervous. But it's a good little time. Let's get these players back. Let's get Gomez and Konate back on the bench. Let's see where we're at and go from there.
So, Gomez and Konate on the bench. So, you're starting Joel Matip against Man City.
100%.
All day, I'll tell you for why, mate. Nice. If they want to go a bit more direct for Haaland, then I'm absolutely fine with that with Matip. And I know Konate wins his headers. I'm not arguing that. But I just feel like if Liverpool are going to be on the back foot, Matip is much more comfortable on the ball, just to break a line, just to break past a press, because he just does it so surprisingly, I think, sometimes. And also, if he's going to invert Trent back into that role, if he puts Grealish on the left-hand side, his pace doesn't bother me. I'm not interested. Yeah, I would rather play that Trent inverted role if you're playing Grealish left wing, because his pace will not. If he plays Doku left wing, then we can have a chat, right? But because of Grealish, he's not quick. He's not going to hurt you. Where Matip is still better defensively, and I also don't feel like he hasn't got a silly yellow card on him. He's unlucky today. We all know it's not even a foul. He gets booked. Yeah. But he's unlucky today. He hasn't really got a silly yellow card, but I feel like Konate has. So I would do Matip over Konate, definitely.
I might even play Gomez on the left against City.
Ooh. On the back of Simicast today? Come on. Says he harsh there. You know? Come on.
That's actually a good segue there, Cersei, because I have a short that I scheduled tomorrow, right? And I mentioned this on the YouTube channel where I said in my infinite wisdom that I think that I prefer Jota on the left as the regular starter over Luis Diaz. Am I waffling? Because I feel like the consistency that Jota gives you, he's like, what you see is what you get. Yeah. Kind of subpar build-up play, subpar passing, not the fastest player. But after every game, he has a goal in him. He has a goal or two or an assist. Like, you know what you're getting from him. And I know Kazi's kind of familiar with this because he's been a critic of Luis Diaz this year. With Diaz, it's just he's either really good or he's piss poor this year. So what say you? Like, for example, we're coming into a massive game against Man City next week, right? Obviously, we need to have our best lineup there. Would you have Luis Diaz or would you have Diogo Jota as left wing?
I think based on the last 2-3 performances, I didn't think Diaz could dribble with the ball the way he does.
Right,
he's like added that to his game. And I always thought he lacked pace, but he plays intelligent. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you said this to me like a couple of months ago, like the Diaz would be like number one, like on my left. But no, Jota, he's really come in, like he's improved on his game a lot. And I think against City, because it is a way, I think we will need to start a little bit more cautious and strategic. So again, I'd go the front four that we had today. So you still got Nunes to create that chaos, Jota on the left, Gakpo just behind him, and Salah on the right. But I would definitely play Gomez on the left.
What about you, Kazi? Any merit on my shout here?
I'm with you on Jota. I am with you. And I tell you why. Walker's all pace. And so's Diaz. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I thought Jota protected Costas a lot today. And that sometimes, when I used to really frustrate me when Liverpool were the best team in the world, that people would go, oh, Trent can't defend. Like, Trent always gets isolated and stuff like that. And you go, yeah, because he's got Mo Salah in front of him. Andy Robertson has Sadio Mane, who worked as hard as anyone. That's the where Jota will protect Costas, I think, with the pace of Walker running in behind. He will protect him in moments for 15 minutes. Jota will stand 10 yards away from him and go, don't worry about it, we're stopping Doku if it's going to be Doku, and we're stopping Walker, and I'll do my little business. So, and of course, he can always bag a goal. I think Diaz has been poor this season. Really do. I don't think he's been great at all. I think since his injury, and let's get it right, it was a bad injury, so he deserves some time to come back and, you know, and of course, everything that he's gone through personally at home, he's might to take some time, might take him until after Christmas to get right, which is absolutely fine, by the way, because Liverpool do have options where we should be allowed to just lose one forward and have the rest to do bits and bobs. But for City, mate, I think you'd have to do Jota. Look at his goal today, by the way. Some finish, that. Yeah. Some finish, you know. Like, look at his goal against Toulouse. It's just like he was pissed off and went, why didn't you just do this from the start, boys? I'll just take on two men, a little bit of movement, and I've scored. By the way, I don't even know if he's left or right-footed sometimes. It's that good. So, I'd have Jota all day. But also, if we're going to lose him by a goal, Diaz off the bench is not a bad option, is it?
Yeah.
And Cersei kind of touched up on it. So you'd go with the same lineup next week, considering not next week, 2 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah. Apart from Endo, I bring McAllister back in.
Right.
And Jones, then you got Gravenberch. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's nice to have options, isn't it? This is what I'm saying. But I know you're not used to this. We're so used to the fucking same 11 for the last 5 years. Yeah. And now we're going, fucking hell, we've got some players on Liverpool, haven't we? Got some players.
Yeah, before we head out here, guys, I just have to touch Darwin Núñez, right? I think we were talking about it. I was talking about it with Kazi, prior to the start of the match. One of his better games. Kind of unlucky, though, with those 2 disallowed goals. Are we... Okay, let me start with you, Kazi, because I know you're Darwin's biggest fan here. Is it because we've just been spoiled with Bobby Firmino, right? Is it because like everything he does, we see that number 9 shirt, we get reminded of a certain Brazilian and what he did for us through the years, which is supreme build-up play, silky smooth football. Obviously, Darwin's not that kind of player, right? So for this system, right, are we being a little too harsh from him? Like, put your objective cap on me. Like, nothing. I know you said that he's not the most intelligent footballer, which I agree, right? But he'll come up with performances like this from time to time. Is it still kind of a give him time kind of deal, or has he sort of like cemented himself as like, he's not going to be a starter in the biggest games against the Man Cities, the Arsenals? Off the bench, starter? What say you?
I don't know anymore with him. I can't. I can't stand them. I genuinely can't stand them at times. I can't stand them.
Cersei, you're next. You're going to answer this. Don't worry. But go ahead, Kazi.
I like clever footballers. I like someone who's... I love Harvey Elliott. I love watching Harvey Elliott because you make the right pass and you do the right things a lot, which is, again, that's why he frustrates me. But today, I'll give him his credit. For the first 45, at least, I thought he was quiet second half. But which is fine, again, because he pressed really well, I thought, in the second half, and I thought he worked really hard. But the first half was probably his most complete performance he's had for Liverpool over 45 minutes there. He's bang. He is offside, by the way, for the 2. He is offside. No, I'm not even getting into that conversation. He's unlucky. He gets an assist as well for Salah. And again, that's a really good assist because Trent fizzes the ball into him. It's a great first touch and he gets it off, and it's a great goal. So, do I start him against City? No. I'd still have Gakpo in the 9, only because I want options off the bench. I don't see Liverpool being 3-0 down at half time and the game's gone. So I still think Liverpool have to be in the game on the 60-65 and where we can win it or steal something. And also, by the way, Cody Gakpo's not a bad footballer. So, but I don't know where I'm at with him in this thing of giving him time. No, there's no more time. You need to start producing now. You're 24. Mm-hmm. He's got to learn English. Okay, yeah. There's that. I love how, by the way, people go, he's got to learn English and he's still settling in. It doesn't mean you can miss sitters from 4 yards out against Luton. It's like that thing with United fans, isn't it? When you lose a game, they go, against Copenhagen, they lost 4-3. Yeah, but if you see the roof at Old Trafford, fucking hell, let's just blame the roof at Old Trafford then, because we lost 4-3 to Copenhagen. You've got to stop giving them excuses. It's time to perform. You're at Liverpool. 1-3 is not good enough. You can't play well 1-3. Because that's what lower league strikers do, like Jermaine Defoe and Robbie Keane. No disrespect, I love them. But they played well 1-3 because that was the level that they were at. So now, if you want to be at Liverpool, mate, you've got to do it week in, week out, week in, week out. You've had a good performance there. You're going to go to Uruguay. And I feel sorry for him because he's probably going to come back Friday morning again. And you're playing City. That's the other part of this conversation when you're coming into the starting 11 of City. I know he mentioned McAllister. I don't think he does McAllister because of that reason. Because he was so bad after he came back for Wolves away. And he got hooked at half time when he came back from the international. Darwin will be doing the same. Diaz, where the manager's got ready-made excuses now for Gravenberch to start, for Jota to start, and them can't because they're only in Europe. So that could be the conversation. But great 45. I'll give him his credit with his due. He was unbelievable. For again, second half more quiet, but still absolutely a fine, competent performance. Let's see him kick on now. Right, we'll give you your fucking excuse for Luton. Learn your lesson, and let's kick on. Liverpool have a league title to win. So let's go and win it.
What about you, Cersei? Some closing thoughts? Darwin Núñez, what have you made of him this season?
Not as harsh as what Kazi says. I think with Núñez, I think we're unfairly trying to compare him with Bobby, just like we did with Diaz and Mane. like Bobby, and even then, Bobby's. I think he was underrated because he took the number 9 shirt. You put the number 9 shirt on someone, you expect him to be like Rush or Fowler, like a natural goal scorer, which Bobby wasn't.
But he took it.
Yeah, and if Bobby played as a, with 11 on his back or 8 on his back, would say he's one of the greatest players ever. So to compare Nunes to Bobby is a little unfair. They're completely different players. While like Nunes, if he's not scoring, he's getting the defenders to think. So that creates space for Salah or whoever else. And I forgot he was going to Uruguay. So yeah, I wouldn't start him against City. But if he weren't, I would have started him. But on the basis that he's coming back from Uruguay and probably not until the day before the game, I put him on the bench.
Yeah. On that note, guys, before we head off, confident for the City game?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I listen. As much as City are a good football team, no one's arguing. I am confident. I think Liverpool do have all the tools where we can frustrate them a little bit. Of course, the result today is going to be super interesting to see what happens there. But if you actually look, I think they've lost to Arsenal and Wolves this season, both away. So they have a really good home record. We know that. But again, if Liverpool want to win the league, you've got to beat City twice.
Yeah.
Or to at least take 4 off City and let them take 1 off you. That's okay as well. That's the problem with like every other team. That's why Arsenal Arsenal, the kids on the pitch after they beat City. Because you're like, they know they've got to do the same. Because if you're relying on the teams to beat City, they won't. Rely on yourself to beat City. Liverpool beat City, everyone will sit there and go, fuck no, they have half a chance here. Which I don't really want either, because I like us kind of going under the radar. Keep talking about Ange Ball, even though he's one of the most tactically weirdest managers in the world. Even yesterday, he was absolutely ludicrous yesterday.
Right.
So, keep talking about all them. Let's have the loving for Ange, and let's have Arteta running up and down the line, pretending he's Gunnosaurus. Let's do all that. But Liverpool are doing fine. We're doing really good. Let's go to City now. And I'm hoping we can steal the win. But it is more hope than judgment.
Sergi, what about you? Confident as Kazi is over there?
I'll take a draw. If I had to be put in a spot right now, I'll take a draw. Doku, he scares me. Doku, Foden, they're obviously Haaland, but if we can cut his service off, it's just just keeping Foden and Doku quiet.
Yeah. Right, it's gonna be like Rocky versus Drago again when we come back after 2 weeks. But thankfully, we're gonna have a Liverpool win under our belts just in time for Thanksgiving. Thankful for the Reds. Thankful for all you guys here. And thankful for everyone who tuned in. Yeah, so this is going to be our last post-match stream for quite a while. And I appreciate you guys hanging on, coming over here and joining us, for a good post-match. It was thankfully way better than the first one that I hosted, in which we lost 2-1 to Spurs. I just have to say that. So, yeah, Kazi, Serzi, appreciate you guys joining. And for everyone tuning in, if you guys haven't yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel or Facebook, Twitter, all of that. If you want to see more of us talk out of our asses, we'd really appreciate it. Every like helps. So, yeah, up the Reds, great win, and have a great rest of your Sunday, everyone. Take care.
Take care, guys.